Hi guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. So today I want to tackle a very serious topic: loneliness. Well, loneliness is not an abstract condition that affects only certain kinds of people. The truth is that feelings of loneliness can affect anyone, young, old, and in between, and at any point in life. So basically, there are two types of people. First type, those who feel lonely because they feel distant from their friends, or because of being single, or because of the new country, new job, or simply not fitting in. And the other half feels lonely even if they are in a crowded room. The truth is, you can feel lonely anywhere, anytime, no matter how many people are physically around you. You can be surrounded by nice people, good food, hilarious conversation, but you're still feeling alone, as though you're 1,000 miles away from everyone else emotionally. The tricky thing about feelings is that they're different for everyone. Some people, for example, are perfectly fine having new friends who enjoy spending a great deal of time alone. For other people, those same scenarios would create a deep sense of loneliness and isolation. Figuring out why you feel lonely, even when you're not alone, can help you feel more in tune with the people around you and with yourself. You know what? The great irony is that as we become increasingly connected on social media, video calling, and messaging, we simultaneously feel increasingly lonely. And even though we may use technology to feel more connected, it may be exactly what's leading us to feel lonely. Let me guys ask you a question. Did you ever have this question in mind? Just be honest with yourself. I feel lonely. What's wrong with me? When we feel lonely, we often tend to beat ourselves up and think that something is just wrong with us. The more alone we feel, the more we start to have thoughts of not belonging or of feeling rejected by others. When we are left alone with our thoughts, we become our own worst enemy. An isolated space is the perfect breeding ground for negative, self critical thoughts. These thought patterns make up the critical inner voice, an internalized enemy that leads to self destructive thought processes and behaviors. This inner critic feeds into our feelings of isolation, encouraging us to avoid others and remain in a lonely state. Do you guys know what is the best solution for this issue? Personally, I think is to acknowledge you feel lonely. Please don't waste energy fighting your feelings or trying to suppress your emotions. Everyone feels lonely sometimes. This is very, very normal. And feeling lonely doesn't mean you're a loser or it doesn't mean you're weak. It just means you're human. Yes, you're a human. So just because you're feeling lonely, it doesn't mean that you are a different or you're weird. In fact, it means that you have more in common with the people around you than you realize. Yes, you might cop to a lot of things before you admit to feeling lonely. Being a procrastinator, bad with money, or even unlucky in love. But why? Why? Because the social stigma around loneliness is deep and often avoided, and by and large, loneliness is mischaracterized as a neediness, a failure to find friends, a symptom of a personal problem. This may be why we're so quick to tell people how busy we are, because how could we possibly have time to be lonely? But here is the thing: it is okay to feel lonely. In fact, it's good for us. It's our body's way of telling us that we crave meaningful social interaction. When you feel loneliness rise to the surface, it's no different than other signals your body sends you to alert you to its needs. Like, for instance, do you have a problem admitting when you're hungry? No! So, why would you have a problem admitting that you're lonely? The key is to claim our loneliness without shame. Please, guys, stop seeing your loneliness as a flaw. Throw out the idea that feeling lonely equals something wrong with you. No, nothing is wrong with you. You're normal. And please, give your loneliness the stage. Say, I'm lonely. Let yourself have a cry. This is also normal. Another thing, don't tough it out. You're not stronger if you don't address your feelings of loneliness. When you try to ignore feelings of loneliness, you deny yourself the ability to meet your most basic emotional needs. I don't know, guys, if you ever noticed this, but there's always a strange shame associated with admitting this feeling of loneliness, as if my confession of being lonely means I'm somehow lacking or like I don't have the relationships or support I need. I often romanticize people who have friends in droves, attributing this to their likability. It's easy then to make the mental jump and think my loneliness is somehow linked to my character. If only I was more likable, if only I had more friends. But sometimes the loneliest I've ever felt is surrounded by people in big cities, smooshed up against the window of a bus. People feel lonely, surrounded by noise and chaos all the time. There are no rules or limits. Too easily, we pass fleeting judgments without recognizing how deeply loneliness can sit inside us, painting how we see and interact with everything and everyone. The truth is, yes, loneliness is a shared experience. It is a universal experience that no one talks about. Yet, instead of admitting our vulnerability, we bury ourselves in work or to-do lists to hide our feelings. Sometimes we fall into a cycle that keeps us stuck. Loneliness leads to shame and sadness, which leads to scrolling our phones instead of reaching out for real connection. Maybe we even hide the truth from ourselves. For me, I'm discovering that I use my introvert label to mask how truly isolated I sometimes feel, pandemic or otherwise. Though being alone isn't the same as feeling lonely, and introversion differs from isolation, the two can get mixed up. Loneliness is like a shadow in that way, and it can be easily overlooked when we're familiar with solitude. I feel lonely because I like to be alone. As humans, we need each other. We're ultimately social creatures with community woven into our DNA. When that need isn't met, we're left feeling lonely and can even experience depression. It's an entirely valid reason to admit how we feel and seek help. This, of course, is the hardest step, admitting where we're at. It's always a brave choice to confront our feelings, and it can require more courage when we're facing loneliness. But sometimes saying something aloud can help shift our perspective so that we can take small steps towards change. We may be lonely, but we are never truly alone. Next time you feel lonely, remember you are worthy of connection and belonging. And when it feels like too much, consider stepping outside and turning your face to the sun or stars, soaking up warmth and light. Just think, someone else out there is doing the exact same thing. Maybe even me. We may be lonely, but we are never truly alone. So, guys, do you ever experience feelings of loneliness? It's okay if you do. I would love to hear how you are handling isolation. Feel free to share in the comments below. So, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you like it. Goodbye. See you next time.